What if I told you that four ancient numbers, numbers woven into the sacred geometry of Buddhist cosmology, whispered in the second sight of Baba Vanga, and cloaked in the prophetic riddles of Nostradamus, might hold the key to a moment of extraordinary transformation coming in early June 2025? At first glance, they may seem like ordinary digits, simple, unremarkable, but those who truly see, those who feel before they think, know better. These are not numbers picked at random. They are coordinates encoded in the fabric of existence. They are subtle vibrations, echoes from a higher intelligence reverberating across the centuries. Not predictions, not coincidences, signals. Most people will overlook them. They'll walk past the signs as they always have, distracted by noise, by habit, by the surface of things. But a few, the seekers, the sensitives, the awakened, will notice something different, a pattern emerging, a soft alignment humming just beneath the surface of the everyday. And in that moment of recognition, they may feel it, a doorway opening, a force greater than chance beginning to stir. These numbers are not new. They've been waiting through time, through scripture, through prophecy, waiting for the right moment to rise again. From the 31 levels of reality described in Buddhist teachings, planes where consciousness ascends or descends, to the 44 sacred forms of enlightened compassion said to radiate from awakened beings, these numbers are more than symbols. They are frequencies. They are steps in a path invisible to the eyes but known to the soul. This is not a game of chance. It is not luck. It is not about risk. It is about rhythm. It is about resonance. It is about recognizing the soft threads that bind events to meaning and meaning to timing. For thousands of years, we have searched for signs. We've looked to the stars, to dreams, to nature's cycles. We've asked for guidance, sometimes out loud, sometimes in silence. And more often than we realize, the universe has responded. Not always in words, not even in visions, but in patterns, recurrences, numbers, signals that repeat until they are seen. We live in a world obsessed with logic, statistics, and probabilities. But beneath that grid of reason lies something older, something intuitive, something sacred. And that's where these numbers live, in the same realm as instinct, déjà vu, and fate. Every year, billions participate in games of luck, lotteries, cards, dice, wheels. Most chase hope. Few pursue truth. But what if the numbers that emerge are not chaos at all? What if they are invitations? What if the universe is not leaving outcomes to chance, but instead offering hints, patterns disguised as randomness, and waiting to see who notices? To the Buddhist mystic, numbers are more than tools. They are teachings. They represent states of being, paths of practice, realms of transformation. Each number, a mantra. Each sequence, a map of consciousness itself. From the Eightfold Path to the 31 realms of rebirth, the numerology of awakening has always been there, guiding quietly, asking to be remembered. And then there is Baba Vanga, the blind mystic of the Balkans, whose visions transcended sight. Her warnings were wrapped in riddles, but they carried weight. And Nostradamus, whose quatrains bent the fabric of time, encoded meaning in metaphor and mathematics. Both visionaries pointed toward numbers, elusive, symbolic, strangely persistent across their prophecies. These numbers were never meant to be easy. They were meant to be found. And now, as early June 2025 dawns, gently but unmistakably, there is movement in the unseen, a shift that can't quite be named but can be felt. Like a low vibration beneath your feet, like static before a storm. The frequency is changing. The rhythm is aligning. It is no longer a whisper, it is a call. Four numbers are stirring. They rise like archetypes, not in haste, but in harmony, each one carrying meaning, memory, message, a piece of something larger, not dropped all at once, but revealed in sequence. a spiritual breadcrumb trail meant to be followed. They are arriving. They have always been arriving, and now they are ready to meet you, one by one. 26, the awakening number. The number 26 does not demand attention with thunderous clamor or bold proclamations. Instead, it whispers softly, almost like a secret shared between the universe and those who are quietly paying attention. It appears in moments that seem ordinary at first, on a clock frozen at 2:26, on a receipt from a mundane purchase, on a license plate passing by just as your thoughts deepen. It lingers in the background of your awareness, returning again and again, as if urging you to pause and listen. This number is subtle. It does not announce itself with fanfare, but rather arrives with a gentle insistence, like the soft rustle of leaves before a breeze picks up. It feels like a presence just before change, a delicate tension in the air that something significant is about to unfold. The digits themselves, 2 and 6, are charged with meaning. The 2 carries the energy of duality, the dance of opposites, the balance between light and shadow, self and other, action and stillness. It calls for harmony, patience, and trust in the unfolding journey. The 6 brings warmth and care, representing nurturing, responsibility, and a profound sense of compassion. It is the guardian of emotional equilibrium, the architect of home and heart. When combined, these two forces create the number 26, a vibration of poised readiness. It does not rush or push. It invites you instead into a sacred space of stillness and preparation, a moment suspended between what has been and what is yet to come. It marks the threshold before movement, the breath held before the leap. To those who encounter it, 26 resonates deeply, often first felt as a subtle stir within the body or a quiet knowing in the mind. It is a sensation that something beneath the surface of life is aligning, tuning itself in silence for a new phase. It is not a call to immediate action, but an invitation to prepare, to observe, to listen, to ready oneself for the awakening on the horizon. In the language of numerology, 26 is known as the builder. But unlike the cold construction of walls or the rigid architecture of bricks, it is the builder of lives, of inner landscapes, and soulful foundations. It lays the groundwork not with haste, but with care and intention. This builder works patiently in the shadows, crafting blueprints that are invisible to the eye but felt in the heart, foundations upon which new realities can rise. When 26 begins to appear repeatedly in your life, it signals more than coincidence. It is a message from the unseen realms. Something powerful is shifting quietly beneath the surface. The gears of destiny are turning. The cosmic clock is aligning. Though you may not yet see the full shape of this change, you will feel it as a subtle vibration, a rhythmic pulse that grows stronger with each moment. And once this number is truly seen and felt, once its message sinks into your being, it cannot be unseen or forgotten. It opens your eyes to a deeper current flowing beneath the everyday, a current that carries you toward transformation. 26 is the whisper before the awakening. It is the stillness before the storm of growth. It is the silent space where preparation meets possibility. A number that invites you to stand at the edge of change, breathe deeply, and trust the journey ahead. 31. The shift number. 31 is more than a number. It is a passage, a quiet corridor between the ending of one story and the emergence of another. It carries the vibration of the in-between, a moment suspended in time where the past begins to release its grip and the future leans forward, whispering its first syllables. It is not chaos. It is not stillness. It is motion, slow, deliberate, sacred. When 31 begins to appear, it marks a threshold, not just in circumstance, but in consciousness. A space where identity begins to shift, where the questions we carry start to take on new weight, new meaning. In that liminal space, something dissolves. Something old becomes too small to hold who you are becoming. You feel it, not as panic, but as invitation, an urge to step forward, an inner signal that says, it's time. The number itself tells a story. The 3 vibrates with the energy of expression. It is the voice awakening, the vision forming, the spark of creativity that lives in potential. It's the number of divine inspiration, of ideas taking shape in the unseen. Then comes the one, pure initiation, the first step into the unknown. It's the number of beginnings of self-leadership, of the bold act of saying yes to something not yet fully formed. Together, 3 and 1 create 4, a symbol of foundation, structure, and groundedness. But when they appear as 31, the meaning becomes more layered. This is not just about building. It is about preparing to build after the necessary unbuilding. It is momentum in its earliest, most fragile state, like the first breath after silence, like a seed cracking open in the dark. It is not loud, but it is powerful. In ancient cosmologies, 31 is often linked to sacred transitions. In Buddhism, it mirrors the 31 planes of existence, realms the soul can journey through, from the most material to the most luminous. It reminds us that life is not linear, but spiral, that we rise through thresholds over and over again, each time shedding a version of ourselves that can no longer carry the next truth. When 31 enters your field, showing up in times, dates, thoughts, chance encounters, it is not random. It is a signal, a nudge from the invisible world, a reminder that something has run its course and something else is asking to be born. And the question it carries is simple, but profound. Are you willing to move forward? Not hastily, not in fear, but with clarity, with intention, with reverence for the chapter that is closing, and trust in the one that is beginning to unfold. Especially as early June 2025 approaches, the presence of 31 becomes more potent. It is charged by collective cycles coming to a close, by personal timelines intersecting with larger energetic shifts. You may feel it as restlessness, as the urge to clear space, as the quiet sense that your inner world is realigning, even if the outer world hasn't caught up yet. This is the wisdom of 31. It moves before the world sees. It changes within you first. There is beauty in this number. There is honesty in its timing. There is courage in its rhythm. 31 is the shift, the quiet moment before the leap. It is where endings dissolve with grace and beginnings rise without force. It is the point where dream and decision meet, and the future begins to take shape beneath your feet. This is not the end. This is the turning, and it has already begun. 44, the foundation number. If 26 is the whisper in the silence and 31 the first step into motion, then 44 is the moment your feet touch solid ground. It is the structure that rises from vision, the bones of the dream, the quiet strength beneath everything lasting. It doesn't shimmer or sway. It doesn't chase or demand. It stands with gravity, with grace, with permanence. In the language of numerology, repeating numbers are never accidental. They are amplified frequencies, intensified vibrations calling your attention. And among them, 44 holds a unique power. It is the master of the material realm. While others drift in dream space or stir in transition, 44 is the anchor. It doesn't work in illusion, it works in form. The number 4 alone represents foundation, stability, order, and grounded creation. It's the builder, the planner, the steady hand laying brick after brick in quiet devotion. But when the 4 repeats, when it becomes 44, its energy doesn't just double, it deepens. It becomes legacy, responsibility, endurance. It asks not just what you're building, but how deeply you're willing to commit to it. Where some numbers invite inspiration, 44 demands intention. It's not here for fleeting excitement or surface change. It's here to root something real into the earth. A relationship that endures storms, a mission that survives self-doubt, a path that continues long after the first thrill fades. 44 is the energy of the doer, the architect of reality, the soul who knows that transformation means more than insight. It means labor, devotion, structure. When this number begins to appear, again and again, in synchronicities you can't ignore, It is not a coincidence. It is a signal, a clear, unwavering message that something real is taking shape, something that requires your focus, your discipline, and your full-hearted engagement. This is not the time to drift. This is the time to ground. It may not feel glamorous. 44 rarely is, but it is sacred because this is the number that turns energy into architecture, potential into permanence. It's the long road walked with purpose, the hands that build not for now, but for what will stand long after you're gone. It's the choice to stay, to work, to craft, even when no one is watching. Especially in early June 2025, this number carries weight. As the collective moves through endings and shifts, 44 appears as a stabilizer. It is the number that says, now we build. Now we make it real. Now we bring the unseen into the seen, not through force, but through alignment. To those unwilling to commit, 44 may feel like resistance, like pressure, like the slowing of momentum. But to those prepared and those who've done the inner work and heard the earlier numbers call, it is an invitation. It is the gateway to grounded transformation, the kind that lasts, the kind that matters. 44 doesn't reward the impulsive, it rewards the ready. It's the contract signed in soul ink, the plan laid across lifetimes, the foundation you didn't even know you were preparing to build, until now. Because some dreams don't just visit, some dreams want to stay, and 44 is how you make space for them to live. 39. The guide number. Some numbers arrive like lightning, bright, jarring, impossible to ignore, but not 39. 39 doesn't shout, it doesn't demand, it listens. It hums just beneath the noise, waiting for you to get quiet enough to hear it. It's the number that comes when you're between destinations, when the path ahead isn't fully clear, but something inside is already beginning to shift. It's not chaos. It's not certainty. It's the moment of becoming. And 39 is the quiet hand at your back, guiding you gently forward. On the surface, it's unassuming. You might see it flash across a phone screen, tucked into an address, lingering at the corner of a page. But its energy is anything but ordinary. The 3 brings creativity, voice, and the blossoming of self-expression. It's the sacred act of finding your truth and speaking it aloud. The 9, in contrast, is a number of endings, of closure, wisdom, release. It is the final breath of an old identity, the exhale that makes space for something new. Together they form 12, a number of divine order, spiritual learning, and karmic lessons. Then when reduced again, they return to 3 in the energy of expression, reborn and renewed. This is the pattern of 39, a cycle closed, a new voice emerging. Not loud at first, but clear, rooted, ready. In moments of transition, 39 becomes your subtle compass. It shows up not with commands, but with presence. You don't follow it like a map. You feel it like an inner nudge, a knowing that doesn't come from logic, but from somewhere older, deeper, the place in you that has always known the way. It often appears during inner shifts, when you're changing quietly without telling the world, when the roles you've outgrown begin to fall away, when you're not quite who you used to be, but not yet who you are becoming. In these sacred in-betweens, 39 arrives like a guide disguised as stillness, a number that says, you may not see the path, but you are on it. This is the number of intuitive clarity, of insight that doesn't come from books or voices outside you, but from your own alignment. The truth that rises when you get quiet enough to hear yourself. It might come in a passing conversation that lands deeper than expected, in a synchronicity that feels too meaningful to dismiss, or in a moment of pause when you suddenly, inexplicably, know what to do next. 39 reminds you that guidance is not always grand or loud. Sometimes it's a whisper at the edge of awareness, a pull toward the unfamiliar, a gentle, persistent thought you can't shake, especially in times of deep personal recalibration, like those ushered in by the energy of early June 2025. This number carries special weight. It doesn't mark dramatic change, it marks alignment. It doesn't push, it points. And those who are listening closely enough will recognize it not as coincidence, but confirmation. When 39 appears, slow down, get quiet. Not everything is meant to be chased. Some truths wait patiently to be received. Because this number doesn't promise direction, it invites you back to the compass already within. And once you remember how to listen, truly listen, you'll realize you were never lost at all. Individually, each number holds its own weight, a vibration, a message, a moment. But together something else happens. A pattern emerges, a quiet frequency unfolds beneath the surface of ordinary life. These aren't random digits drifting through time. They are signposts in a language older than words, a language of energy, of alignment, of sacred timing. And when they begin to cluster around you, on screens, on clocks, in dreams, it's not just chance, it's a conversation, a calling, a soft thread the universe has placed in your hands, inviting you to follow. It begins with 26, the signal, a number that doesn't announce itself with thunder, but with presence. It appears in quiet places, on receipts, in room numbers, in passing. You don't notice it at first. Then you do. And when you do, something shifts. 26 doesn't push you to act. It holds you in the pause before the leap, the sacred stillness before the transformation. It says, get ready. It says something is coming. It stirs your intuition before your logic can keep up. Then comes 31, the shift. This is where motion begins, the spark that nudges you forward. It's the moment when the abstract becomes tangible, when the vision starts to move. 3 is the energy of creation. 1 is initiation. Together they create a forward pull, an invitation to step across the threshold, even if you don't know exactly where it leads. It's not loud or dramatic. It's a quiet decision, a brave beginning, the choice to trust your inner signal and let something new begin. And when that movement settles, 44 arrives. The structure, the foundation. This number doesn't glitter. It doesn't seduce. It supports. It's the grounding force beneath big dreams, the architecture of change. 44 doesn't promise fast results. It promises lasting ones. It rewards consistency, integrity, patience. It's the builder's number, the number of those who don't just wish, they work, who don't just hope, they shape. When you see 44, something real is forming, slowly, steadily, silently, and it will last. But even the strongest foundation is meaningless without direction. That's where 39 comes in. The guide. 39 isn't loud. It won't shout over the noise. It waits until you're quiet enough to hear. It's the number of returning to yourself, of trusting your inner compass. 3 offers your voice. 9 offers closure, wisdom, the soft echo of everything you've learned. Together, they hold the medicine of remembering who you are, what you carry, what no longer serves. 39 reminds you, you've always known. You just needed to listen. These numbers aren't steps on a staircase. They're phases of a cycle, energetic markers that loop and return, deepening each time. First comes the awakening, then the motion, then the structure, then the inner knowing. And then the cycle begins again, but not from the same place, from a higher octave, a deeper awareness. This isn't about luck. It's not about prediction or superstition. It's not a trick to win something outside yourself. It's a tuning fork, a frequency you begin to feel in your bones. These numbers are not telling you the future. They are pointing to your readiness, your resonance, your unfolding. And when they start showing up, not just once, but repeatedly, insistently, pay attention, because something in the fabric of your life is aligning, and what looks like coincidence may be the very thing your soul has been waiting for. So what do you do with this? Use the numbers however you're called. Write them down, meditate with them, speak them softly in your mind when you need clarity. Let them become part of your awareness. Not as a superstition, but as a symbolic language, a kind of soul shorthand. Use them not to predict, but to prepare. Not to chase outcomes, but to align with your own unfolding. Because this isn't financial advice. It isn't a code for gambling. It's a spiritual mirror. A symbolic framework for those willing to meet life with awareness, with reverence, with responsibility. These numbers are not magic tricks. They are reminders that the real power, the only power, has always lived within you. And perhaps most importantly, remember that the universe doesn't always scream. More often it whispers. It leaves signs in plain sight, hoping you'll slow down enough to notice. And when you do, when you finally start to listen, life rearranges. Not all at once, but deeply, lastingly, from the inside out. So if one of these numbers is echoing in your mind, if you felt the pull, the presence, the pattern, share it. Drop it in the comments. Let's see what's resonating in the collective field. Let's feel the frequency together. And if this message reached you at the right time, stay close. Subscribe. There is more to come. June carries new patterns, new alignments, and we'll be here to meet them with presence, with clarity, with heart. Until then, stay open, stay grounded, stay guided. The numbers have spoken. Now it's your move. God bless.